Hello, this is the Steven out, and yes, we are back with another Green Hornet 66 episode review. Today, we're here to review the second part in this, and another Green Hornet 2-part. So, any further ado, let's get straight into this review. Just to recap on the previous episode, there is an imposter dressed up as the Green Hornet going around attacking the Daily Sentinel, which was all meant for a smokescreen to kill their target, a guy named Simon Neil, who runs the who is really guy that owns the Daily Express, a rival newspaper to the Daily Sentinel. With him dead, it's an up in air for with him dead and having the Green Hornet be blamed for it, and Reed is also getting blamed because the Green Hornet was meant to kill him, not Simon. So Britt Reed is out on the town to clear of who this phony Green Hornet is and find Simon Neil's true killers. And what does he do? Well, he begins by hiring a guy named Dan Scully, who, if you recall in the previous video, was a person who used to work for the Daily Sentinel before going to work for the Daily Express. Basically, Britt Reed offers him his old job back if he'd be willing to come back to work for the Daily Sentinel and help him in his first assignment to find who murdered Simon Neil. But he says, murder, it was an accident, wasn't it? He says he believes it wasn't, and he believes that Sabrina Bradley may have had a role in it. And he agrees to help. While Dan Scully goes to check out on Sabrina, Britt Reed goes to Melissa to ask further questions. Melissa is Simon's niece, and as we know, she is another suspect. As again, we believe that Sabrina Bradley might be behind it, but so is Melissa. After all, with Simon gone, she now inherits everything. And with the rumor that Simon was going to marry Sabrina, she would really own it, and she'll be left really out in the cold if anything happened to Simon. Now, with Simon dead and Sabrina Bradley not married to Simon, she really owns everything. And she plans to, get rid of Sabrina Bradley once, Sabrina Bradley. And this further emphasized that maybe she might be behind it. Reed goes to visit her, and this is where we get in the dialogue. After that, Britt Reed goes home and gets a phone call from Guy, another reporter that works at the Daily Express, and asks to meet him. As a result, asks to meet him. He's getting this phone call about this through Case, who's kind of like a mediary between him and Guy. But just as that happening, we see Scully walk into the place and has overheard the conversation and begins to leave. And it's clearly hinted that there's something a bit off about him, and we can all guess what. Again, I'm not going to spoil it, but come on, if you haven't been following along, if you haven't been watching the actual episodes, you could guess. Anyway, before he does go to Guy, Britt Reed goes to the Daily Express as the Green Hornet to interrogate Sabrina about, her hiring the fake Green Hornet, and how he doesn't, and basically intimidates her. Sabrina is genuinely terrified that the real Green Hornet's here, and is also confused with what he's saying, hinting that she may not be behind it. And after the usual interrogation scene, which honestly Van Williams does to perfection, the security guards come in and try to apprehend the Green Hornet and Kato. But of course, Kato is Kato and wipes them to the floor. They leave, and Britt Reed gets changed to go and meet Guy. When he gets to Guy's place, he notices that Sabrina Bradley has just left the building. He then begins to go in and goes to Guy's apartment, where he finds Guy dead. He ends up in a confrontation with the fake Green Hornet. The fake Green Hornet tries to kill them, but miss, and quickly makes a run for it. Britt Reed has kind of had enough, and now just wants to get to the bottom of what the hell is going on. So he calls up Case and said, "Did anyone know about this meeting? Did you tell anyone?" She said no, but then she remembers that Scully was in the room when she was on the phone, and maybe it could be Dan Scully. And Britt Reed is convinced. He then goes up and calls Sabrina Bradley to meet him at the old pony club. After eyeing some girls, he then gets into a serious talk with Sabrina Bradley, and basically tells how Guy essentially called him up to meet him. But when he got there, you left the apartment, and when I went there, Guy was dead. What is going on? Sabrina then comes out and says to ask about the blueprints to the Black Beauty that Simon had made. Turns out Simon was planning for this masquerade ball, and he planned to go as the Green Hornet with the car and everything. He planned to go there, but when she got to the apartment, guy was dead and left. And Britt Reed is, believing she might be telling the truth. But then again, he doesn't know what to believe, courtesy of what he just got wrapped up in. The reason why, however, she went to Garth's place, Garth, went to the reporter's place, is to ask more about the car, but found dead and left. Britt Reed then asked her the question, does anyone know who else, could know about the car being customized? And Sabrina says on the top of her head, Melissa. Britt Reed then gets the phone and basically calls Melissa up, essentially, to have, to them to have a meet-up, essentially. And just as he's about to leave, Sabrina does turn to Britt Reed and essentially says, good luck, and, not to, get hurt. Clearly saying, yes, she has contempt for him, but she's no monster. So this is further me believing that, that Sabrina is definitely innocent in all this. Later on, we go to Simon Neal's place, where we see Melissa held at gunpoint by Sabrina Bradley. Maybe she isn't, innocent as I thought. Britt Reed goes to knock on the door and notices no one's there. He quickly gets in the car and drives off. Just as Britt Reed is driving, he's being tailed by the fake Green Hornet. However, it turns out Britt Reed's not in the car, as at some point he got out of the car and had Casey drive. So Casey's getting involved in the episode. The real Black Beauty picks up Britt Reed, and he quickly gets changed into his Green Hornet guard. Just as the fake Green Hornet is tailing Britt Reed's car, he sees the real Black Beauty, and as a result, we get another chase. Honestly, I absolutely love it, but it's also pretty hard to figure out which one is which. I kind of just wish they could have done at least something with the fake Green Hornet car to make it look like, it is a fake Green Hornet car, but it looks similar, but enough to be different. I don't know, it's just hard to keep track. And through some very weird and bizarre editing choice, the car essentially rolls over and explodes, killing the driver. And as we all know by this point, that the fake Green Hornet was Dan Scully. The car then rolls off and explodes. Then the Green Hornet decides to go to Simon Neal's place to wrap up this mystery. They get to the place, the Green Hornet steps out and enters the place. Just as Sabrina Bradley is caught off guard, Melissa grabs her gun, holds a gunpoint, and basically it is revealed she's the real mastermind behind the whole thing, thinking that this is Dan Scully, Dan Scully, not the real Green Hornet, and says how they quickly need to get out of here and basically kill Sabrina Bradley, tie up all loose ends. However, the Green Hornet takes the gun out of her hand, and he reveals to her he is not Dan Scully, but the real Green Hornet. He asks what happened to Dan Scully. He says dead. She then faints out of pure shock. He then turns to Sabrina and asks, why did this whole thing happen? Why is she here? And she reveals that Britt Reed asked him to come here and hold Melissa until he gets here, but he doesn't know why technically Reed did not technically show up. The Green Hornet hears sirens and quickly makes his escape. Sabrina Bradley goes to the phone to call her secretary and basically write down the story, but she decides to not go with it, as she realizes it's just that no one would believe her. We end the episode at the Pony Club, where Breed, Mike Axford, and Case are all there essentially having a meal. Mike reveals everything, that, Melissa was behind everything because Sabrina was going to marry Simon Neal, and realized she'd be out in the cold. She then stumbled onto the plans one day and made a deal with Dan Scully, who, as we know throughout these two-parters, is not a fan of Sabrina. And the two hatched a plan to, kill Simon, get the fortune, and essentially get rid of Sabrina. The conversation begins to end when Mike says, how the food here is not that good, the prices are enormous, and is baffled to why Reed comes to this place several times a week. And I love the little scene as Mike realizes what the girls are dressed up as. After all, this is called a pony club, or pony room, whatever, pony club. And we end the episode on a laughable note, and honestly ending, I would say, a pair of some of the greatest episodes from this TV show. The cast for this episode. Honestly, Van Williams gives an absolutely fantastic performance here, and I absolutely love every minute of it. Kato is a bit in the background, but we do get an awesome and very memorable fight scene with him, and Mike Axford, you know, having a funny moment. We don't get to see much of Frank Scanlon in this episode, and Casey getting involved in the plot is honestly fun, and I think out of all the supporting cast, I think she has the least of getting involved in the plots, which is nice when she gets a chance to get involved. Now for the villains this time around. Here we have Melissa and Dan Scully, portrayed by Celia Kay and Tom Simcox, respectively. I love how each have a unique motivation and each acting style to the point where we're both suspicious of them, you know, for their involvement, but also a little bit of doubt that they might be innocent. More so with Melissa, I would say, than Dan Scully, but still the same. These two honestly make for a really good one-off episode, because clearly they were meant to pair for this one episode and that's it. I would have, honestly, however, I wouldn't have minded if Dan Scully could have easily come back, but made it that, you know, he could have possibly survived and is on the run. Courtesy, and now he wants revenge on the Green Hornet for stumbling into this plan, and as a result, his whole motive in life is just to cause Green Hornet trouble. A really great thing for a villain, and I would have loved to have that. Melissa was definitely meant to get, you know, I like how Melissa got her comeuppance. It wasn't her getting killed in a gruesome way, just getting caught. And that was really great. Honestly, these two make for a really fun episode, a pair of villains for this episode, and arguably some of the best episodes of the series. Another highlight for these episodes for me is the character of Sabrina Bradley, who is portrayed by Joanne Drew, probably butchering that name, but honestly, this actress just gives an absolutely phenomenal performance here. And she's a character, I like how it's a bit complex. We don't really know, like, if she's innocent, is she guilty. We're throwing for many hoops and hurdles through this two-parter, and I honestly really like her. She was an absolute highlight for me, and I find it interesting that Britt Reed's rival in the newspaper industry with you know, their own newspaper publishing is a woman, considering the time period and how she runs it. You know, it just felt like it's a bit progressive. And I really appreciate it's not playing into stereotypes. This is honestly a really great performance. I love it. And I wouldn't have minded if she turned up in later episodes to both be a rival to Reed, but at the same time a friend, because she kind of does come off as that too, both being a friend and a rival. I love that. I would have loved to have seen her appear in another episode, but with what we got, she was phenomenal. The Corpse of the Year Part 2 is another great two-parter, and honestly, The Corpse of the Year Parts 1 and 2, I will say, hands down, are the greatest episodes in the Green Hornet. They are my personal favorites. I love the noir crime detective story it was going for. People might say that the Praying Mantis might have been the greatest Green Hornet episode. No, I say this one. This is my favorite. I love it's more of a mystery, and it's honestly a shame that we got it in the Green Hornet, but not in the Batman 66 show, where there was a genuine crime. But this just fits perfectly with this show, and I personally felt with these episodes, this two-parter, I felt they finally had, the Green Hornet finally got across what it was. And I was really upset that they never really brought that kind of thing back. It was upsetting, but understandable at the same time. The Corpse of the Year, Part 2 and Part 1, are the Green Hornet's greatest episodes. And there we have it. That was Corpse of the Year Part 2. You already heard my thoughts. I think it's it's part of the greatest Green Hornet episodes. It is my personal favorite go-to. Join us next time. We'll review another episode with Green Hornet 66. But until next time, this has been the Steven Hour, and ladies and gentlemen, so long for now.